What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Keeping It Plus Ultra with Blerd Without Fear. And in this video, I'm going to be sitting down with the creative team behind a comic by the name of Everyone Is Tulip, a comic that is about a young woman named Becca who winds up finding herself embroiled in the dark underbelly of the world of performance art and becoming a content creator and YouTuber, and just how the world views and values people who are content creators. That's really the only way I can think of to put it, but we'll talk about all that and more. But yes, I'm going to be sitting down with the creative team behind this comic, Dave Baker, who some of you may be familiar with Dave through the comic Star Trek Voyager Seven's Reckoning. He's also even done some work for Netflix, co-writing the film Alien Warfare. And Nicole Goux, some of you may recognize her name from DC's Shadow of the Batgirl. They've also worked on other projects together before Everyone Is Tulip. Things like Murders, Suicide Forest, Teenage Switchblade, and one of my personal new favorites, Fuck Off Squad. But anyways, I'm not going to hold this up. Let's go ahead and jump right into the interview. And there's going to be links down in the description and in a pinned comment below if you're watching this on YouTube. And of course, if you're listening to this in podcast format, you'll also be able to see the links in the description for this episode. But anyways, without further ado, I am Blerd Without Fear. Let's keep it plus ultra. Welcome, everyone, to another round of Keeping It Plus Ultra with Blerd Without Fear. Of course, I am the only host on these, but I'm Ernie, Blerd Without Fear. I am joined today by two very, very special guests. And not only that, but we also had a little bit of moments. You guys know how bad I am about fucking things up. When it comes to pronunciations, not going to do it today. I'm paying attention. I have done my due diligence. I've done my homework. We are joined today by Dave Baker and Nicole Goux, who are both, first and foremost, awesome and funny people already, just in the few minutes that I've been speaking with them. But also are the creative team behind this awesome comic called Everyone Is Tulip. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being on. I just want to say first and foremost that spoiler alerts for my thoughts about this whole thing, but I actually really enjoyed this comic. Spoiler alerts for that.
I was really hoping that was going to be the opposite, where you're like, spoiler alerts, but I fucking hated this book, bro. No. Like, you guys seem really nice, but this book fucking sucked. All right.
No, I was actually genuinely surprised. Like, because a lot of people who follow me on YouTube, they know I read a lot of Cape comics. I read a lot of other comics too. I'm not just a strictly Cape person. It's just what makes me money on my YouTube channel. But talking about Cape comics is apparently a lucrative thing. But I also like reading comics that are just about other stuff. I don't like just reading about superheroes. I like reading about like everyday stuff, or like, stories that are off the beaten path. And when I looked at this one, I was kind of like, I don't know. Is this for me? I'm not sure. I don't know if I have I don't know if I have a frame of reference here, but when I actually sat down with it and like started going through it, and getting to know the characters and just the what all is going on here, I'm not gonna lie, I actually got hooked in. I was like, well, now I wonder what's gonna happen. What is Becca gonna do now? Is this what she wanted? Is she gonna be okay? Why is this happening to her?
We've done our job, Nicole. We did it.
That convert. Yeah, I mean, you're used to reading Cape comics. This doesn't really look like any of that stuff.
No, well, but not and not in a bad way either. For the and yeah, I guess I don't want to leave anyone in the dark here, but this comic, Everyone Is Tulip, is about a young lady who is basically trying to live the dream. She's out in LA. She's actually in Hollywood more specifically. She's trying to become an actress. And, she's doing the thing that I think, we always hear, horror stories about where it's like, oh, you're going to move out there and, you're not going to make it and you're going to be a starving artist and all this other stuff. And it's kind of what is happening, so to speak. But like out of nowhere, she gets this opportunity that kind of leads her down this rabbit hole of, I guess not, I guess, she wants to be a celebrity. She wants to be like a star, but like at the same time, the route that she is going is probably not the route that she had envisioned. And then how all of that can kind of devolve. The further along it goes, that kind of underbelly, I guess, that people don't, or maybe people do think about when it comes to the entertainment industry and how people view you as a celebrity and like what your worth is boiled down to, for lack of a better way to put it. The back of the comic would probably sell it better than I just did.
I mean, that was pretty good. I'm impressed. That was great. Yeah.
Hey, I have my moments. I have my moments here, but so let's really kind of dig into how did y'all come together on this one? I know that y'all have worked together on multiple projects, even before this. Which now that I know this, I've actually gone, I want to go check that out. I'm going to check that out. None. And actually, I made a list of the ones like I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at these. None more importantly, and this is just because I love the title, the Fuck Off Squad. Hey. I want to go read this now. I'm like, that title, it has a nice name. I can get behind that. But but no, how did y'all come together on this project?
So Dave and I have been making comics together for about probably 7 years now. Mm-hmm. I was an illustration student who had recently graduated school. I had no intentions of making comics. I hadn't really read anything since I was in like early high school, middle school. I read a lot of manga. But I wanted to be an editorial illustrator, but I was kind of in between jobs. And I met Dave and he asked me if I wanted to make a mini comic with him for his book, Action Hospital. And I was kind of like, nah, that doesn't really sound like something I'm interested in. And Dave can be pretty convincing when he wants to be. And we ended up making it. And then, we've been making comics ever since. So there was sort of a natural progression for us from the 8-page Action Hospital comic to some mini zines that we made and printed together. And then we moved on to some bigger books, all self-published until we got Fuck Off Squad published with Silver Sprocket and have sort of started kind of moving up to bigger publishers with the help of that. And with, I ended up doing a book for DC, the YA Shadow of the Batgirl. And so this was kind of just the next thing on our bucket list of stories we wanted to tell. And we started making it before we even had a publisher lined up or anything like that.
Oh, wow. It's like, y'all just like, hey, look, we got the story. Yeah, we know where we want to go. Screw it. Let's just do it.
We come from self-publishing, so we're not going to let anyone tell us not to make a thing.
Well, no, I applaud that because, people say what they will about the horror stories of of working I guess like under constraints and deadlines and having to do things a certain way, this, that, and the third. But there is something to be said for having that freedom to just do. Like you have the story in your head, you can say, all right, well, I'm just going to do it.
And
just be done with it.
it kind of all spawned out of, there were a couple of these people who were kind of doing internet performance arty stuff, right? Because in the book, the main character Becca, like you had so adequately or eloquently summarized, she kind of comes out here to be an actor and then kind of gets sucked up into this weird YouTube performance art thing, and that's kind of based on a couple real people. So Nicole and I were both watching these kind of various YouTube pseudo celebrity influencer people and being like, this is so fucking weird. What is this? This is so strange. And then to see all those people start like bubbling out into broader culture and really succeeding and having lives with a capital L in the public space, we both were just like, we gotta do something with this because there's such a potent metaphor here. And so we kind of took some of those elements of real life, some stuff that we had made up and, sculpted it into the kind of thematic underpinnings, which ultimately evolved into the book that is now being published.
Well, I definitely got to say, y'all tackle it from multiple angles with this comic because not only are you getting just what's going on, like Becca's side of the story, she's obviously the main protagonist of all this, but we also kind of get to spend time with other characters who are in her orbit and how through one way or the other they get sucked into all the craziness and just like the thing that I actually really enjoyed about it was just that I didn't know where any of this was going to go. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't really know what to expect. So it was just like, as the story was just kind of naturally unfolding and kind of witnessing how everything breaks down. And like, there were really a lot of good, like, I don't know, like, I would guess like cautionary tales. It just kind of built it, kind of baked in there. Like just and of course, as being a YouTuber myself, and kind of seeing like, especially you have sections where y'all are kind of going through Becca seeing the comments, and then people trying to come at her on social media. There's and people coming at her from all kinds of crazy directions, just like people who like they want to get to know her, or they like, oh no, I want to get closer to you because I want you. People being just extra and just nasty and just ugly and I was like, wow. I was like, this looks like actual YouTube comment thread here. I've seen this before. I was like, this is real.
Ernie, is there a hashtag wrist fatty that for the Blerd Without Fear? Is there some weird thing that everyone just gets pissed off about for you?
Well, no, I tell you what it is. It's not the wrist fatty thing, which I thought that was absolutely hilarious. Just the fact that anyone would be self-conscious about that. But it's the it was, I remember for the longest time, people used to always get on me about like when I wouldn't shave, and it's just like, I don't care. It's like, dude,
but you have such beautiful facial hair.
I was like, hey, look, I was like, I get it. Or rather reverse that. It started that way, and then it became when I did start shaving, people were like, oh no, man, you need to go back to the other way, man. I like the other way better. It's like, I can't please you people. But
no, you just really don't. Can't. Yeah, you really
just don't.
The nature of viral fame and the way that the internet works now is that people think that they have kind of like a right to you and your life and the way that you present yourself. And it's a very strange thing because I don't think celebrity was like that before the internet, where it's like, because you don't have a face, because these people seem closer to you, because it seems like something that you could do, there is no like wall, there's no barrier between you and the millions of people who are your followers or however many you have, where when it's like one day you're a normal person and then the next day you have 6 million followers, and then they all think that they have a right to tell you how to live your life or what you should be doing. You know, it's a very strange world.
Oh no, you owe them your time. Like you have to take time out of your day of doing whatever it is that you normally do, and you have to give each of those 6 million plus people a chunk of your time, and that's one of the things I thought was very interesting about this, because not speaking from because I'm nowhere near that, but speaking from a point of experience, just as in dealing with fans who have certain, I guess, ill-informed expectations about what interaction with a any kind of a public figure or whatever would, how it's supposed to go. Like, there was a lot of stuff here where I was just like, I totally get that. I've seen it. That was yesterday.
I mean, we've even had just like weird, relationships with people at conventions, and like, I mean, obviously neither Nicole or I are someone who would be recognized in the real world, but in comic book stores and at comic book conventions, the two of us get recognized frequently. And it's a little weird when someone comes up to you and they start talking to you like they know you, and you're like, do I actually know this person? Or is this just like a random person who knows me from the internet? Like, what is going on? Like, we were out at dinner once and somebody came up. They were very nice. It was a very positive social interaction, but they came up and asked us questions, and they were like, are you Dave Baker? Blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, fuck, do I know this? I don't know this person, right? I don't know them. I do know them. Fuck. No, it's internet stuff. Okay, cool. Just be nice. Cool.
I mean, like, sometimes people you've interacted with, like, maybe multiple times or frequently, but all you've ever seen is their avatar, and then they think that you know who they are, and you're like, what's your handle?
Right.
Sorry.
Oh no, I've not on any like major level, but in the before times, but before, when we could actually go out and venture into the world without fear of death, I actually, like, I was at a convention in New York, and someone literally shouted from across the one of the halls. They were like, "Hey, Ernie!" And I was like, who in New York knows me?
And it was
my
Matt
government
Murdock.
I was like, I wish. Oh, look, if the guy would have at least been cosplaying as Matt Murdock, I'd have been happy about it. I would have taken that one. That literally would put me over the moon. But but no,
the
just some random guy. I mean, I'm not saying anyone has to do this, but if for whatever reason I'm out and about and you happen to be dressed up as if you were a lawyer, possibly blind, maybe some red sunglasses, I'm not saying anyone's got to do it, but if you did it, I wouldn't be upset. That's all I'm saying. I'm not asking for this, but I'm just saying.
Let's get an OnlyFans started for Ernie.
No.
The Blerd Without Fear OnlyFans is just people sending in their own Daredevil porn.
Oh, God. It's like, hey, I got just the mask. Yeah, the horns. Yeah, and then just that's it. That's like,
it's just a bunch of videos of naked dudes with red sunglasses. That's all it
is. Well, and see, the sad thing is, this has been put out into existence. This will probably wind up happening now.
Oh yeah, it'll absolutely happen.
I'll get a link.
Spoken it into existence.
they're like, hey, Ernie, here, check this link out. And I'm like, oh, what is this? Here, let me. Oh, okay. Ooh.
Yep.
Y'all did it. Y'all did it.
I don't know how we're gonna get this back to on track about comics of the book, but honestly, I'm excited about this. I'm excited that we're just doing a sex positive Daredevil exploitation podcast now.
I mean, I'm like this. Hey, it takes all manners of things to make the world move around.
My new kink is Catholic shame.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Catholic shame and ex-girlfriends that are heroin addicts. That's my new thing.
Dude, you know, man. And maybe an unhealthy obsession with rather large men in business suits.
Loves large men in business suits. Loves them. Loves them.
Possibly
maybe they have
bald.
a thing for white.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, maybe the white sports coat. Yeah, little. Maybe a shaved head. I mean, I don't have to be. It doesn't have to be that specific. But but no. I'll figure out. I'm not even gonna try and find a way to segue it back in. I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna try. There's no way. I couldn't do it.
I totally derailed us. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have made the OnlyFans joke.
It's okay. It is okay, because you know what? If nothing else, I know somebody somewhere is gonna hear that and be like, all right, cool. Let me see. Let's go ahead and get this. Get the domain. Let's go ahead and get this set up, everybody. Go ahead and get your stuff in. Get your stuff in. But no, but you know, the thing that actually that I also thought was very, you know, real, like, not to say the story isn't realistic, but the thing that I felt was incredibly realistic about this story was how everything escalates in this in the tale of Becca going from, you know, being a starving artist to getting this opportunity from a guy who, like, you know what, you guys have ruined me for people named Stanley now. You ruined me for people named Stanley. But you falling in with this guy who just, I mean, yeah, I was like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's so,
I was like, this guy is basically
the antagonist of the book is this character named Stanley, who is a would-be performance artist who makes these videos that are kind of otherworldly in that they're like non-narrative, strange kind of. There's this central character that's this kind of flower-themed character called Tulip, which Becca ends up getting cast to play. And she just kind of keeps saying the same thing over and over again. Everyone is Tulip. And so all the videos are like shots of her standing there wearing elaborate costumes and talking to camera. And over the course of the book, you know, these videos, they kind of gain traction and propel these various characters into different realms of society. And for me, the interesting thing about Stanley as a character is that he's someone with a hell of a lot of ambition, but not of a lot of skill or kind of moral compass or integrity. So he kind of forces the people around him to ask questions of themselves that they might not always ask, right? Like he's so driven by this goal of making an impact, whatever that means, that it causes everybody to kind of ask, like, okay, well, how far am I willing to go to get what I want? What am I willing to compromise on? What are the benefits from this situation that I'm getting? Is this negatively impacting me or my surroundings? Because the videos have been propelling all of them so far. And those are, you know, things that both Nicole and I can relate to on like a interpersonal level. Like comics is a weird industry where there's all these people around every corner with contracts being like, and there always is a catch, you know, even if it's just like an emotional catch or a literal, like, we own half your character catch.
Right. No, that's I imagine that's actually like a fear that I know people legitimately have in that industry, that like you hear it even now, where you got guys like Ed Brubaker, kind of shining attention on the fact that, oh, hey, it's great, we got all these Marvel movies running around, but yeah, I don't get paid for the fact that a character that I made, a big deal, or storylines that I made a big deal that, you know, are being used to make multi-million-dollar, and in some cases billion-dollar movies. And it's just like, that's sad to me.
Yeah, it sucks.
That is sad.
It especially sucks because it's not like it's a new thing.
No.
This has been going on since the 30s.
Yeah.
And yet there's no unions. There's no people looking out for creators. And a lot of creators, you know, they're not savvy enough to really understand some of the contracts, and they don't have lawyers because there's no money in this bullshit.
It's expensive.
Yeah. No, it's, I would imagine just like if someone says, hey, well, here, sign this contract. It's like, well, no, go get a lawyer. It's like, just go get that sounded oddly casual. It sounded like you told me I was to go to the grocery store and pick up some bread. Go get a lawyer. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing with someone like Marvel or DC where you're working in licensing and you kind of know what you're getting into. It's not ideal. They're probably going to make more money off your characters than you ever will.
Right.
But when you work for a lot of these companies claim to be making creator-owned comics, but then they take at least 50% of, you know, your ownership and controlling interest, then you don't have a say in what happens to those characters or what gets made with them. You're probably not going to get very much kickback from that because you're splitting it with your other creators or this or that. And it's worse when they're claiming, oh, you own this, this is a creator-owned thing, but then you kind of don't. Like, you have some percentage of what happens later, but it's not the same as being the person who made that thing and getting all the credit and ownership for that, you know?
Right. It's all fun and games until it actually comes down to, all right, who owns what? Who's in charge?
I think the distinction being that most comic book publishers and most comic book creators are planning for failure. They're saying, what's the lowest bar? You know, who cares if I give up 50% of this character? I need $5 today, more than I need $500,000 tomorrow. Yeah, and that's a choice that you get to make, right? It's not an easy choice. I hope it's not one that people make lightly, but you know, I would much rather plan for success, and bet on myself and bet on Nicole. Mostly bet on Nicole because she's way better at this than I am.
We always talk about like, who would have thought a comic about a bunch of turtles who get turned into ninjas and fight crime would have blown up the way that it did. Like, so there's so many creators who go in being like, oh, well, like, I just really, really need to get published. This isn't going to go anywhere. It's not going to be a big thing. But the thing is that you never know.
Right.
And the amount of money and merchandise and shows and things behind something like Ninja Turtles is just astounding. So you just never know. And we tend to think of it as maybe bet on yourself and have faith that, like, maybe it won't become anything and it would have been better to take the money up front, or it could be something in the future. You just never know. And are you willing to take that risk? You know, it's the fulcrum.
Well, and I think, it is, I feel like there's a lot of merit to that too, because, one of the favorite things I like to tell people, because, having been doing content creation for like the last, for almost 5 years now, steadily. And, people that, always come and say, hey, I want to do something kind of similar to what you do. Like, how do you do it? I was like, you just do it. You kind of have to take that first step. You have to lean into what it is you want. And sometimes it does mean you're going to have to make, you're going to have to make a choice about some things, and it may not come like right away. It may not come till like way down the road, but at some point you have to ask yourself, a very serious question about what it is you're doing and whether or not it's worth it for you to do. And a lot of times the only way you're really going to find out whether or not that thing is going to become, is it going to be the thing that's going to, just be a hobby that you do on the weekend, or is it just going to be something, or is it going to become something that ends up being that ends up competing with your normal day-to-day job, or even maybe become your day-to-day job, and you won't really find out until you actually go all in for yourself. It sucks that I've always thought it was kind of a strange and just not okay thing in the comics industry that people have to make that make that choice as to whether or not are we making money now, or are we making money later?
Yeah, it's almost like unions are a good idea, and we should have unions protect people.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
Unions are a good thing.
Imagine that.
Yeah, God forbid that there be a union to protect people.
Well, it's a huge industry. It's a very huge industry, and I think it's something. I know there's always those people that say, "Oh, it'll never be as big as what it used to be," and it's like, but it's big in a way that's different than what it was before, because now it's not just paper media. It's digital media now. It's movies, it's TV shows, it's the things that that you create could become something later. I can't count how many times I look in comic book news and find out that some indie comic, or some comic from Image, or Boom Studios, you fill in the blank, any other studio, is, it's being optioned for a television series. It's being optioned for an animated series. It's being optioned for 20 years worth of movies set in a cinematic universe. It's become such a thing that it's like, well, it all starts somewhere. And maybe what do I know? I don't work in the industry, but I would assume that it would be better for all parties involved if maybe there was some more clear-cut, way that everybody can, walk away happy. Especially the people whose minds these industries are being built off of.
Yeah, but I mean that's a core central theme to the book, right? Mm-hmm. Is like, how do you navigate trying to be true to yourself and your own artistic compass, as well as put food on the table? And some of the characters are very privileged in that they don't have to struggle as hard. And so they're able to say no to things. They're able to navigate those situations with a little bit more selectivity. And other characters, they have children and bills to pay, and it literally isn't an option to say no. So they just take whatever the things are that come along, because what else are you gonna Yeah, they have to.
I found it very interesting too. Like, and there's a point about kind of like in the kind of left of the middle in Everyone Is Tulip, where I think the reality, maybe not the full reality, but like kind of maybe the first like wake up call that things are changing for Becca hits when she realizes that you can't just be like, people don't want you. They want the character. They want who you are perceived as in these videos. And I think the way that she is met with this, it kind of hit home for me a little bit, because not so much in terms of like, struggling with like, having, an identity that is, or playing a persona or anything like that, but just the fact that, people, they expect something of you. They expect you to be exactly the way you are in something where you're just playing a character, and they think that character is you. They don't see the line between the fantasy and the reality. It's like, they didn't catch that piece of information and education in school, that there's a line between those things. But But I thought it was very interesting the fact that, like, yeah, you're locked in this position where, nobody wants Becca. Yeah, we want Tulip.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that the line for Becca is a little more extreme because her character is so extreme. But in real life, with a lot of YouTubers and TikTokers and those kinds of things, they just kind of seem like normal people. They're acting like, they're just living their lives. They're doing whatever. And so for viewers, the line is so blurred that they think that these people are who they are presented as online, when that may completely not be the truth, or it might be, like you said, left of the truth or whatever, close to what they are, but not the reality of who they are as a person. Because even if they're not overtly acting, you're only seeing a little slice of their life, what they're letting you see.
Right.
There's that Marilyn Monroe quote. I forget exactly how it goes, but she says something like, nobody wants to go to bed with Norma Jean. They want to go to bed with Marilyn Monroe, which is like, every person who is in the limelight in some way or another is playing a character. And particularly now that that line that we talked about is so blurred, people don't differentiate between who this actual human is and who the character that they're playing online is.
Right. It's that whole thing, like, just, and like I say, when you read this comic, just, and it's not just like one or two times. This is like something that pops up like kind of fairly regularly, just seeing, her social media interactions. It's just like wow. It's like, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. She definitely gets bullied online, like, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it becomes a somewhat constant, so much so to the fact that it kind of almost comes to define her as a character, right? Because she's not existing free of criticism in that way, right. in a critical feedback environment. She's existing in relation to the weird vitriol that she knows she's going to get, which impacts how you make things. It's, you can kind of see it in a lot of cartoonists too, or comics writers, where, like, there are sometimes you'll be reading a Bendis comic and there'll be a non-Jewish character who will use Yiddish, and another character will then point out that they're using Yiddish. And then the other character who's not Jewish will use Yiddish again as like, no, I'm using it as an affectation, because that's something that people levy at him consistently. It's like, why the fuck is Wolverine saying Meshuggah? Like, come on, man.
Right.
This is fucking weird. Like, Logan wouldn't say this, but it happens regularly. And it's that weird kind of feedback loop then, where instead of listening to the criticism, you start internalizing it as something to rebel against, which, is again, a theme through the whole book of, like, how all these characters interrelate with the internet, where you can see anything you want all the time, always, forever.
Yeah.
Well, and everyone kind of handles that differently, right? So someone like Becca, instead of internalizing that, might play into that and cover parts of her body that people don't like, or eat less because people have said she's fat, or whatever it is. There's kind of two ways to handle that. One is you get real defensive and angry, or justifiably don't care, and you kind of push back against that purposely, or you internalize that and you change yourself to fit what people are saying about you. And depending on how that's handled, one isn't necessarily better than the other, but one is better than the other.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that, and kind of, going back to the characters that are in Becca's orbit, which, speaking as a person of color, I actually found very refreshing. Because I always joke about, things suffering from the Friends syndrome, where you have a group of people who live in New York, and it's a group of white people. They don't have any They don't have any friends. They don't have any neighbors. They don't really know anybody that is not white. And I actually found it really refreshing that it's like, no, Becca, she's living in Hollywood. Of course, she knows people from different walks of life. Just about. I think honestly, out of all the characters, I think probably the only character that she interacts with on a maybe semi-regular basis that is white is probably Stanley. And I thought that was actually really refreshing. Right? It's like I was like, damn. I was like, so it's like, oh man, dude, it sucks for Stanley. Damn, he's terrible. But I was like, yeah, but I thought that was I thought it was really refreshing, thing to see because, to quote the late great Stan Lee, the world of comics should represent the world that is literally right outside your door. And that's something that I felt was also really cool to see that she's dope. She just has friends. She knows people. Whether it's her roommate or her costume designer or whatever the case. I thought it was a really cool move. Because it actually made everything feel more realistic to me. On top of everything else that was going on with the comics, I thought that was awesome. That was an instantaneous win to me.
I think the characters that you're talking about specifically of Chloe, Pete, her son, and Eve, the roommate and best friend of Becca. Like in my head, I think for some people it's like Becca and Stanley are the main characters and they're the supporting characters. But to me, it's more an ensemble cast. Like all of these people represent aspects of the central theme of the story, and their backgrounds and their character flaws inform their approach to that theme in very specific ways, which I won't give my thoughts on necessarily because that's for the readers to interpret and see how they think those things fit together. Right. But the characters in the book are kind of a house of cards, and you can't have one of them without the other, and their dynamics interrelate and correspond in ways that hopefully after you've read it and seen the whole entirety of the story, you'll look back and be like, oh, that's why that, and like you're saying, kind of, yeah, man, there's a lot of comics and a lot of stories out there with just a bunch of white people hanging out. And and also, to be frank, the story of Becca and Stanley in a lot of ways it's a story about privilege, which is specifically why they're Caucasian. Like it's interrogating this idea of the privilege of being an artist and what the social undergirding that needs to exist for someone to devote the amount of time and effort it takes to be a successful artist is not afforded to everyone. Right. And so, so it's cool you picked up on that stuff and that was cool.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I agree. I felt that I felt that all of these characters, whether it's Chloe or Eve, I felt like they felt like complete characters. I felt like they actually got time they all got a fair amount of time to tell, or for us to experience their side of the story. I didn't feel like at any point like, oh, well, yeah, this character I don't really know anything about this character. They're just there. They're not doing anything. It's whatever. I never felt that at any point because at multiple points in the story, we go back to where those characters are. What are they doing? What are they up to? What are they doing when they're not around Becca? What are they doing? Like, they're not just there when Becca's there. Like, they have lives of their own that we get to learn a little bit about. What are their experiences? And it's and a lot of it was, you know, relatable stuff. A lot of it was relatable stuff that I just felt like, yeah, no, I was like, I can see this happening. Like, I totally see this. I can totally see where, you know, this character's coming from. And it was, like I said, it was something that was just really refreshing, you know, to see, just because, yeah, it more probably more so in mainstream comics than just about anything else. But I mean, yeah, usually it's incredibly sterile. For lack
but that's
of a better way to put it.
but that's something that Nicole and I worked on a lot, and also that Nicole specifically was like, we should have more moments where Eve and Becca are just being friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah. Initially, you know, it was, I don't want to say it was a more Becca driven story, but we didn't really see what their relationship was as much, you know, in the early stages of writing this thing. And I really wanted more connection between them and more kind of understanding of like who they are and what they're doing and why they are roommates and those kinds of things. Because, you know, it's important to kind of who you surround yourself with, what your environment is like. It plays into the decisions that you make.
Right.
And also, like, you know, this is not the cheeriest story, and to have, you know, like everybody be awful all the time in a book is kind of, you know, you want to see some moments of friendship, of purity, not purity. I don't know. That's not probably the right word, but like, you know.
Well, this isn't a Garth Ennis comic, okay? This isn't
no.
This isn't Preacher or The Boys or anything.
There's no gerbils up up anyone's butts here. That's not happening.
I'm not gonna need to check myself into like to some mental hospital to get myself straightened out after I read this. No, I'm not.
Which is funny though, because like my personal sensibility is just, can we make it more sad? Yeah. Always. Like that's like not in a Garth Ennis way of like edgelord in your face, but I just mean like kind of quietly, slowly crying alone.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of my preferred tone, is just like, is everyone kind of misty-eyed and alone feeling? Cool.
There's a lot of moments. I think you'll did a good job there, because there are definitely some moments in this comic. I won't say what they are, but there are definitely moments where I was like, oh wow, like that, damn, like, okay, all right, well, I guess this is I guess it's just how it goes sometimes. There's multiple moments, like it's like I can't even like say anything without like giving away any of what it is. It's just like
there's multiple moments like that. My favorite, I think there's two. There's a moment where Nicole draws Becca on like a veranda, or like a looking out over. She's at Stanley's mansion and she's like looking out over the Los Angeles skyline and being sad and alone. And I love that moment. And then I also love, there's a moment where Becca and Stanley there's like a miniature sex scene with them in a car. And he makes her say some fucked up stuff to him.
Yeah.
And when Nicole showed me those pages, I was just like, oh yeah, this is so depressing. I love how depressing this is.
Well, I mean, it felt like, and once again, like, and I think that actually says a lot to the writing in terms, and how everything is laid out with Becca, that like, if this story, were written any other way, like I could very easily see a character like Becca be someone that like I wouldn't like. Like I could like if anyone else has done this, I could easily see her like, oh my god, like, oh, did she get on my nerves? Oh my god, she's on my nerves. Why don't she just wise up? Oh my god, just grow a pair and do something. Just do something. And it's like, but no, like as I followed Becca and her story, I still felt for her. Like I was endeared to her because she was written in a way that made her incredibly sympathetic. And not only that, but she's also, she's likable. I mean, she's not like someone that she's not annoying. You know, she's just a person. She's just trying to get by. Yeah, she's trying to get by, but she's all at the same time, she's trying to do her thing. And of course, you know, there's some other stuff that comes up later. But I mean, but even by the time, you know, that I got to the end of the book, I was just like, I was like, damn, that's. I was like, I don't know how she's gonna answer this.
That's something we worked really hard on, though, because I think there probably were drafts of it where she was slightly less likable, and there were also some comics that will remain nameless that, in theory, Nicole and I should have loved, and we were both kind of like, yeah, this main character kind of like low key sucks. Like, I want to love this book, but like just give me one thing that the character is like trying for. Like, I think that's a big component of why I think the character of Becca is simultaneously kind of a fucking shithead, but also still sympathetic, because we see her trying. We know her backstory. We know where she comes from. We know the trauma that she's had to get over to do this, and it's admirable.
And the stuff that she goes through in the book, like whatever bad decisions she makes near the end of the book or during her time, she's going through some shit. So you know, like it's not an easy process for her.
like there's no, like, honestly, by the time, man, also by the time I got you know, even halfway through the book, and, you know, following her making, you know, the choices that she's making, I was like, I don't know if there's a right answer. I was like, I'm sitting here thinking about it, I'm like, I don't know if there's anything she could have said, a choice that she could have made, you know, that would have been any better. Like, you know, like, like it's like a, I don't know. It was really cool. Like, just, and, you know, even, you know, all the way down to the, you know, to the really literally like the final panel. Like, I was literally just like, I legitimately was like, I don't know what would Becca say at this point? What will she say? I don't know, because, like, I don't know where her head is at now. She has seen too much. Why?
She's taking the red pill. She's taking the red pill, which now has a completely weird connotation because of QAnon and everything. Like, I don't mean it in that way. She can get red pilled. Yeah. She's not out here, you know, advocating for white supremacy and shit. But yeah, it's this weird. No, but I think you're right. I think you're right, though. It is a. I'm glad that you had that reaction, because that means that we did our job right. You know, like, that's the goal, is to make a story that the ending feels surprising yet inevitable. And, you know, if she's making these choices where you're like, I don't know if there is another choice to make, but it doesn't feel like, well, of course that's going to fucking happen. Then that, you know, that means Nicole drew the shit out of this book, and hopefully I put some words on the pages that weren't too bad. You know?
Y'all both succeeded. You both succeeded. I mean, and you know, people who are familiar with me will probably understand this reference I'm going to make here, but this is one of those comics. I've done this very few times with other comics, but it was one of those moments, like, I actually was like sitting down on the couch, and I was just like, oh, okay, let me read, you know, kind of let me get some pages down in this comic. You know, I'm gonna read a little bit now, and I'll try and get about, you, like, you know, act 2 before, and then I'll put it down for a little bit, and I'll come back later. And then I was reading it, and as I was sitting there, and I looked up, and then I think I was probably closer to like the middle of the final act, and I looked up, I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm committed at this point. I guess I'm just going to go ahead and keep reading this. I was like, I kind of need to, I don't really want to put it down here, because I kind of want to know what's gonna happen next, and I haven't done that with because usually when I read like trades, I'm usually like, I'm gonna read a little bit here, read a little bit there, then I'll come back to it. I haven't done that with very many trades as of late, and like a lot of people like longtime viewers of the channel, y'all probably know I always talk about Paper Girls. I'd always say that's how Paper Girls got me. I sat down to read one issue, and then next thing you know, I was on Comixology buying the next two trades, and that's all in one sitting. And I was like, oh well, I guess I'm committed now at this point. It's high. That is high praise for me. If I'm sitting down and I say no, I'm only going to read this many, and then next thing you know, this many later, plus more many. I'm still sitting there reading that.
Getting compared favorably to Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang is a pretty high bar to me.
I'm not mad about that.
Yeah.
So the end of every Paper Girls though is like, what? I still don't know what's happening.
No,
I gotta read more.
I've often told people that I've never understood a lick of what is going on in those comics. But I just really, really, really think that the story of these young girls who are like just caught in the weirdest freaking night of that anyone could probably ever be caught in. It's just like, I was like, but they're so endearing and they're awesome, and I wish I was them when I grow up. I wish I were as cool. But I never know what's going on. Like whenever I read, it was like I'm just reading.
Well, it helps that it's beautiful too.
Oh yes, it's a beautiful comic. Which by the way, I do also want to say this comic, Is Tulip, is very, very like it's almost like I want to use the word ethereal, because I kind of felt like as I was reading it, the way everything kind of flowed, everything kind of just felt like I kind of felt like I was in like some kind of weird like Hollywood land dream.
Fever dream.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, I was like this is actually like, because everything just it's a perfect fit of the narrative and the art style, just like all of it. Like I guess since you said y'all have been collaborating for years by this point, but still, that's something that you just don't see very often. Like to see that kind of perfect matchup of the actual words on the page and the pictures on the page coming together and both equally, because there's lots of moments where like the panels are speaking for the story. The panels are kind of letting the story you breathe and have life, and it's like, no, I see exactly what's going on here, and it's incredible. It is very, very incredible. So I have to say high praise all the way across the board from me. Now, one thing I do want to ask too is that now this comic, it is, if I'm not mistaken, has not released in print yet.
Not yet. It's out in comic book stores June 16th and in bookstores on June 29th. Okay. So yes. So I just want to go ahead and let everybody know, please, if you've been listening to this, if you'd heard anything I've had to say about this, you guys know how I feel. You know how I feel about comics in general. You know what I like. We've been here before. I'm not going to dance around it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was honestly, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming.
Great. That's awesome.
It was great. It was a fun read. When I was done with it, I kind of sat there for a little bit, and I was.
Did you cry, Ernie? Ernie?
I might have shed one of those like the Denzel Washington, like in Glory, like the one where the
single tear.
Yeah, like the faucet is only on one side,
Yep.
Like the left eye is dry as a bone, but the right eye is just like pouring buckets out. Just like, and I'm just like, oh, this hurts. But no, it was fun. Like I sat there and I was like, I was absorbing everything that came from it. And I will even say too, if for anyone that is if you are a content creator, a YouTuber, a TikToker, Vine's not around anymore, so you don't have to worry about that.
R.I.P. Vine. R.I.P. Vine.
R.I.P. to my Viners out there. Or if you're any kind of like an aspiring celebrity, I actually think that you could benefit greatly from reading Everyone Is Tulip, because I feel like you would learn a great deal about the road ahead that likely awaits you. Not saying that it's going to be terrible or bad or anything messed up is going to happen to you, or that you're going to get fall into some weird trap of some sort, but just just from the nature of some of the things that come up in the story that just are like cautionary tales about what it means to maybe not so much as be a public figure or be a celebrity, but also what it means to have friends who are also in that same arena as you, to date within that same arena, to it's there's a lot there. And even if you're not a content creator or aspiring, all the things I named earlier, if you're not aspiring to any of that, I still think it's a good read, because I feel like there's a very human story in there that I honestly,
if you have a fucking phone, probably gonna relate to it.
Yeah.
like have you ever watched a TikTok video? Then you'll get it. You'll see exactly. Like, do you know who Logan Paul is?
No.
Okay, then you now know. Like the fact that name just literally, like, if you even know just enough about him to have that reaction, then you know that yes, you need to see this, because I think it's very interesting and very telling. Now, we're also doing like Nicole said, it comes out in comic book stores on the 16th of June, bookstores on the 29th, but we're also self-serializing it online. So if you are curious and just want to read a chunk of it, we're uploading 3 pages a week. The first 50 pages or so are up right now on everyoneistulip.com. So there's that as well. We'll make sure we'll put that link in the description, everything. So y'all go go click the thing. Click the thing that's down there.
Click the thing.
It's somewhere down below where all this is. It's somewhere down underneath. Go down there and you can click on that and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Is there anything else y'all have going on right now? Because I know like y'all both stay fairly busy from what I've looked at. Yeah. So like, did y'all have any other like upcoming projects that y'all can talk about real quick? Yeah,
we have a book coming out from Simon & Schuster next summer. It's called Forest Hills Bootleg Society, and it's about a bunch of teenage girls in a middle of nowhere California boarding school who start a hentai distribution ring. So they start selling bootleg DVDs to their classmates and shit.
What? Okay, yeah. Let me wait. Let me write this down. This is the what was that title again?
Hills Bootleg Society. Hentai circle. Simon Schuster Summer 2022 circle. All right,
there we go. Yeah,
got it.
We're in now. I have it written down. Legitimately, it's written down. It just sounds interesting to me. It just really does. I don't
know why. I don't know why. Yeah, I just into stories about schools. I just love school stories. All right. Yeah. Did you ever see Dead Poets Society? I love Dead Poets Society. You would have been Dead Poets Society better? Hentai, baby.
People don't understand that the tentacles is an art form, and
the tentacles are a metaphor.
It enhances the story.
Yeah. They move the story forward. All right.
Yeah. Yes. They move the. I'm gonna write that down too. Tentacles.
But yeah, so I have that coming out with Nicole next summer. The collection for my Star Trek miniseries Seven's Reckoning comes out in July from IDW. Star Trek Voyager comic. If you're into Star Trek, I love Star Trek.
Love Star Trek. Star Trek.
So it was fun to write that. And Nicole, what do you got going on? What are you doing? What's going on over there?
Finishing up Forest Hills mostly. Working on some covers. I have some personal projects going on. We are pitching some books. There's something else that I have. I don't know.
Well, I mean, there's always the little thing that's DC Comics Shadow of the Batgirl, written by Sarah Kuhn.
Yes, I mean that has been done for over a year. But DC's Shadow of the Batgirl is out in bookstores everywhere. It's a YA Cassandra Cain story, written by Sarah Kuhn, drawn by me, colored by Chris Peters. So that's out. That's pretty fun. You like Cast and Batgirl and library. Lots of books. So many books.
I like I said, I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it. And honestly, I think the world could do with more Batgirl in their life. So just putting that out there. Y'all heard it here first. Now social medias. Do y'all social medias?
We do. Yeah,
here, you go plug your social medias if you choose to. I honestly, after reading the story, I don't know. I don't know.
Do we really want to interact with more people on the internet? Is the question.
Yeah, it's like honestly, I'm thinking about man, I think I might need to take my Twitter down. Jeez.
Yeah, unfortunately, as a creator, it's become almost a necessity.
Yeah.
So you can find me. My website is NicoleGoux.com. My Twitter is @NicoleGoux, and my Instagram is @NGoux, and my last name is spelled Goux.
And I will actually make sure that is on the screen
down below,
and down below, just links. This is going to be a thing. Y'all click them.
Click the link.
Yeah, you can find me if you want to watch time-lapse drawings or me making silly videos, a lot of silly videos. You can do so on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter @xDaveBakerX. And I also host a podcast called Deep Cuts. It's a explainer podcast about weird or obscure stories, co-hosted with my buddy Andrew Price. And every episode we pick a topic and then walk the listener through the ins, the outs, and the nitty gritty of the said topic so that they can appear like a idiosyncratic person at their next forced social function. As a small taste, we did an episode all about Napster, the file sharing service from the 2000s that changed the music industry forever. But we did it all as a musical. 2 hours. 11 original songs, me and Andrew singing. It's good times.
Okay, all right.
We also did an episode about Buckaroo Banzai, the acclaimed cult movie from the 1980s, where at the end of the episode, we got the original writer and the original director of the movie to come write a 10-minute radio play reunion for two of the characters from the movie. And we got the original actors to come back and play their characters, Pepe Serna and Billy Vera, respectively. It was pretty cool. So if that sounds like something you'd be into, you want to listen to me talk about weird, obscure bullshit, Deep Cuts, wherever you get your podcasts.
I like it. I'm writing this down as well. Deep Cuts.
Deep Cuts musical.
Let's see.
Can't believe this guy spent a month and a half writing a musical about Napster. I'm being polite and writing down. What a fucking insane person. I talked to this guy for an hour and I've just discovered he's probably a serial killer. Okay, I'm Ernie. This has been Blerd Without Fear. Please come back again next time.
Well, we are not talking about Napster musical.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great. Like, the only thing that would have made it better is if it was about LimeWire. That's all I'm saying.
There's
That was my
definitely
shit, man.
there's definitely some LimeWire and some Kazaa jokes in there.
Wow, you said Kazaa. Lord, I just feel incredibly old now. Okay, cool. I thought that I thought that was a fever dream I had that Kazaa existed. I actually wanted to believe that it was just all in my head.
That's our next book. Everyone's Tulip was the first installment. Live on Kazaa.
Oh God,
that's the next book. It's like an anthropomorphized file sharing service.
Oh,
no.
I feel like that could be a thing.
No.
See, now we've spoken it into existence. Nicole, you'd have to draw it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I mean, Forest Hills is about like burning bootleg CDs. So
yeah,
that's
it's not
I
that far off.
around the same time.
It's not that far off. Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I can kind of see where I can make this work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to say so much. Thank you, both of you, for sitting down with me and talking about not just Everyone Is Tulip, but also everything else as well. Y'all are so awesome, and just if I'm just gonna say it again, y'all, please go check out this comic. I'm not joking. I'm for real. I'm deadly serious. This comic is awesome. Go check it out. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you right now, go to your comic stores. June 16th. Go check it out. Be like, hey, get me this. Everyone Is Tulip. Also, go, and if you, for whatever reason, you're scared to go into comic book stores, you're scared you're gonna be met by the sweaty, unwashed masses. That's okay too. Wait till the 29th. Go to a bookstore and go see if you can pick it up then. It'll be
worst case scenario. Help Papa Bezos feed some of his children.
Yeah. You get that shit on Amazon.
You know, like worst. You know, if you really hate life, feed the Bezos. You know.
Hey, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I've done it. I mean, it's not something I'm proud of, but look, sometimes you're just like, I'm not leaving the house today, but I want this fucking Flash Gordon replay. So I'm gonna order this.
Oh no, I've had to do
on the website. We have links to indie comic book stores, so you can get it that way too.
See, there you go. So that way, just in case if you don't want to feed the Bezos, you got options.
There's ways.
You know what? Death to the Zos. Death to the Zos.
It's like, wait a minute, him. Yeah.
Eat the rich and flambe Jeff Bezos.
Specifically. He'll taste better that way.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have one eye that's larger than the other. It necessitates flambeing.
Yeah.
Standard cannibalism doesn't work that well with when you have eyes that are different sizes. People don't realize that.
Right.
Well, he's got that nice round kind of pin-headed ball head thing going on.
Yeah, he looks like the human bit.
Egg.
The human egg. like if cone heads were real. This would be him. Y'all, thank y'all so much. And like I said, thank you again, many times. I look forward to checking out even more of the stuff y'all have done together, because just baseless conversation. I already know I'm going to enjoy the rest. And I will definitely, please also remember, as I've written down, Forest, Bootleg Society.
You did it. You did it, Ernie.
Get it.
You did
Get that. Get that in your soul. You're gonna need it. We are out of here, and we will catch you guys next time. We're out.